Okay, we're on Terumot Perek Hey, Mishnah Vav, 6th Mishnah in the 5th chapter of Terumot. Says the Mishnah, Se'ah Truma shenafla lepachot mimea v'nidmeu. Okay, so if I have a Se'ah of Truma that fell into less than 100, so let's say I have not 50, I'm going to cut out this row. Okay, I'm going to cut the entire row out. This is 90. Okay, and so one of these Trumos, one of these fell into this 90. Sa'ah of Truma. Okay, Sa'ah Truma fell in, and of course, you just have to imagine, you don't know where it is, it got mixed in, and it became Demai. Okay, so Sa'ah Truma, and then v'nafal min hamiduma lemakom acher. And then whatever came out, one of these Sa'ah fell into makom acher, into another, I'm pointing to the screen, doesn't help you. Okay, but it's not really equivalent, because one of the miduma fell from, so it's really like, it's much less, because so the question, of course, is the one that fell, one of these Sa'ah, fell out of this bunch, okay, and it's Demai, it's 190th, it's not Batel. So it's chullin midumat. And one of these chullin midumat fell into another quantity, okay? So let's just look at a picture. I have a Sa'ah fell into here, right? And then from there it fell into, and then not this Sa'ah, but it got mixed in. And then from there it fell into another one. It fell into let's undo that. And it fell into another pile. So the question is, what's the halacha of this? Do I originally think that since one Sa'ah of Truma fell in, therefore that Truma fell into something else? Or do I say no? Or do I say that the proportional mixture is what fell in? And that's the machloket. Rabbi Eliezer says, miduma'at ketruma vadai. It makes demai as if this Sa'ah from the miduma, this Sa'ah that came out. Remember, we said Rabbi Eliezer says that what goes in came out. So Rabbi Eliezer says, midama kitrumat vadai. It also creates demai kitrumat vadai. So in this case, this demai, this is not, it's not as proportional, but according to Rabbi Eliezer, it would really be demai. It would really be demai. And then since this is also 90, so let's say this is 90, another 90 Sa'ah. So it's 1 into 90, and it's not patel. The Chachamim say, en hamiduma midamea ela lefi cheshbon. Excuse me. The miduma, the demai, this, okay, we're going to undo. This Sa'ah, one Sa'ah from here, one Sa'ah from this mixture fell into here. So it only makes demai proportionally to the amount of truma that was in it. I.e., in this case, one Sa'ah, this Sa'ah would have 1/90th of a Sa'ah of truma. So therefore, when it fell into here, it's 1/90th of a Sa'ah of truma. And therefore, of course, into 90, if it falls into a huge pile of 90, it's not going to be demai. Now, a very interesting question. What happens if I have, therefore, since I only have 1/90th of a Sa'ah in here, therefore it's not going to be demai. What happens if I have 10 Sa'ah? Let's say I have 10 Sa'ah of truma fell into my 90. Okay? And then 10 of these Sa'ah, i.e. 1/9, let's say, or 1/10. 10 Sa'ah, let's say I have 100. Let's just add, okay? There I have 10 Sa'ah out of 100. And then 10 of these Sa'ah fell into here. So proportionally, according to the proportional measurements, that would mean 1 out of the 10 is truma, is midamat. You understand? Meaning if 1/10 of this is demai, and then 10 of those fell into here, so I add on another 10. Okay, that means I have 100. Before I used to have 90 and 100. That means that one of these, 1 out of the 100, is demai, is truma. I have to consider it like truma because I took 1/10, and 10 of them fell in from here. 10 of them fell in here. That means 1/10 according to the Chachamim. The real question is as follows, and this is a machlok between the Rambam and other Mefarshim. Most Mefarshim say that all of these 10, 9 of them are chullin. So therefore, when I add 10, so here I have 99 to 1, and therefore, 99 to 1 is not batel. So let's assume I have one more, 99 to 100. So if I have a 99 to 110, for example, so therefore it would be batel. But the Rambam says you can't consider, you don't count all 10. All you do is count the 1. And therefore, it has to be batel, what had before, keneged the truma bidamat, without the additional chullin that you're adding here. That's a machlokah between the Rambam and the Bar Tanura. Okay, the Mishnah continues. So that's why the Chachamim say, Ein hamiduma midamea ela lefi cheshbon. It only creates demai proportionally. And then the Chachamim bring 2 other examples of similar proportionality. V'ein ha-mechumatz machmitz ela lefi cheshbon. Here we're talking about, let's say, for example, I have dough. Okay, and the way they used to make dough is they would have starter. Okay, and the starter, if you've ever made sourdough, starter is seor. It's called machmitz. It's something that makes chametz. That's seor in the language of the Torah. It's called starter. We use today dry yeast. They didn't have dry yeast. What they had was they would leave dough, and then it would have bacteria become infused in it, and that bacteria would rise, and then you would take, every now and then, you would take from that, it's called starter dough, and you would take it and you'd put it in your regular dough, and that would mix in, and that would be machmitz. What happens if I have truma, my starter truma, the mechumatz from chametz, the starter truma falls into chullin. So the starter truma falls into chullin and then creates a dough, and that dough obviously rises. And then from that dough falls into another dough. So similarly, Chachamim say, ein ha-mechumatz, the dough that became chametz can only be machmitz ela lefi cheshbon, proportionally to the amount of truma that was in it. So therefore, I have my starter. Let me see if I'm here. I have my starter dough. My starter, here you see, and it falls into my dough. Okay, and it falls into my dough, and then that gets all mixed up, and I take from that dough and it falls into other dough. So the Mishnah says it's only machmitz, it's only considered truma. There's no way to be batel. Since the dough is what causes it to rise. It's never batel. So he says it's only machmitz lefi cheshbon, i.e., if there's enough dough, bacteria, i.e., starter, left to make the second dough rise by itself. If there's enough starter to make the second dough rise, then that's machmitz, and therefore the whole thing is considered demai. But if not, it's not considered enough to make it to be considered asur. That's exactly what he says. Eina useret el lefi cheshbon seor shel truma shemiror ba. Seor means the starter. It's according to the proportion of the starter. V'lo mitzara achrona, the second dough is only asur, el em kein nafal mi rishona, shiur gadol kokach, unless enough dough fell in, sheyesh beseor shel truma me'orav ba, that there's enough starter in it, in the truma, in order to make the second one rise on its own. So it's proportional. Miduma, hamuchmatz, the dough that has starter in it is machmitz lefi cheshbon. Finally, the last example. In order to explain this, we have to understand some rules about mikvah. In order for a mikvah to be kasher, it has to have 40 se'ah, 40 water measurements of mei be'er, of well water. It can't have what's called mayim she'uvim. Mayim she'uvim is drawn water. Okay, as anybody's ever seen a mikvah, the water has to flow directly into the mikvah at the very beginning. Okay, and that's called mei be'er. If it doesn't have 40 sa'ah, so then the halacha is as follows. Right, Terumot says the following. This is the halacha. Shlosha lugin mayim she'uvim poslim et hamikvah. If I have 36 lug, not sa'ah, I'm sorry, lug, I got confused. Lug is a liquid measurement. If I have 36 lug of mei be'er, and I add 4 mayim she'uvim, or anything more than 3 1/4, whatever, 36 1/2, 36 3/4, and 3 1/4, it's poslim et hamikvah. Nonetheless, you could do something called hamshacha, i.e., if I pour it along the way, if I don't just pour it in, but I do hamshacha, then rov shiur hamikvah shesh 21 se'im megishamim, and then all I need is rov. I could do hamshacha of up to 19 log. So he says the following. This is a little bit of a different din, but this is at least the Bartenure's explanation. Ein mayim she'uvim poslim et hamikvah ela lefi cheshbon. If I wanted to do hamshacha, okay, if I have a mikvah that has, he says, mikvah sheyesh bo 21 se'im, sa'ah, already sa'ah, not a log. If I have 21 sa'ah megishamim, mimalei ba'katef, I can fill up 19 se'im, I can fill up 19 sa'ah, upotkan mikvah derech hamshacha, and then I pour it into the mikvah derech hamshacha, meaning by way of, not directly, but the way of, I pour it into like a ditch, and it follows along the ditch as if it's flowing on its own. V'hein tohorin. And that's what it means, lefi cheshbon. It has to be more mei be'er than mayim she'uvim al yedei hamshacha. That's the way the Bartenura explains this meaning. V'hainu lefi cheshbon, that's lefi cheshbon. De'ena she'uvim poslim mikvah derech hamshacha. The mayim she'uvim are only posel el im kein haim esrim mayim she'uvim, unless they're 20. Lefi cheshbon, i.e. equal to the amount of mayim she'uvim. She'em sham rov mikvah mimeg shamim. And that's what the Bartenura says. There's other interpretations of this phrase, but this mission is already too long. That's his interpretation of Ein mayim she'uvim poslim et hamikvah ela lefi cheshbon. We'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, I know it's a long mission, a little bit complicated. feel free to contact me at rspolter@gmail.com. And we'll dedicate the learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.